He was way too good in the first 2 games, and a Kalista always burned the band.
Yeah, so we look towards the first pick for RNG. Once again, it was Gragas in Game 3, and still no quarrels with the Gragas. I think it's a fantastic first rotation. It's just that being on the red side, EDG's second aspect of there, like you get 2 picks on their first rotation, means a lot.
That's different though. Cho'Gath getting banned away. We've seen a lot of Cho'Gath in this series. We've seen a lot of very big Cho'Gaths in this series for us.
He's also been so important, not only because he protects the massive AD carry talent that we have in this series, but also burning the Baron and having priority over that objective. So already this has to be a very dramatically different game.
No Maokai ban, however. Kog'Maw is a priority from EDG.
Expecting Uzi at this point, when he really wants this win, to go for the Kog'Maw and have it all be in his hands. Well, that's been taken away, and likely so will Tristana as well, as EDG are hovering, and that means first pick will be Maokai for RNG.
And that's just a straight up denial. They don't want to give it to Mouse. It's been permabanned this entire series, and unfortunately for Let Me, he gets to play his favorite champion in as much sarcasm as possible.
It's not.
Yeah, it was almost like throwing a gauntlet, however. Like, they banned Cho'Gath instead of Maokai, knowing full well they're probably going to pick the other one, expecting EDG to remove the Maokai so they could have their own first pick, and EDG instead say, you know what, no, it's fine.
4 times in a row the Jarvan comes out. Truly Jarvan the 4th.
And Clearlove super vocal on the screen right now, so that's his pick. He's standing by it.
Played it in the regular season twice. He's played it in the finals 4 times.
I mean, if I was RNG,
there it is.
I was going to suggest this. Very easy to pick the Gragas or the Elise. And Xiaohu once again.
And this is the Xiaohu special. Before Lucian mid was a thing, before MSI, we got to see Xie and Faker and Perks and everyone explode on this champion in solo queue and in the tournament. This is the Angel Beats, the Xiaohu special. He played this way back when.
Yep. Coming back once more, but obviously my focus and the reason why there was a roar from the crowd is we get to see MLXG's Elise, which was banned against him in Game 1, Games 2, left open in Game 3, didn't pick it, picks it in Game 4, the exact same trend that we saw against WE.
And the crowd also heard it, Pulse. The trash talk at the beginning of the day saying that his pick is better than Clearlove's pick because his pick is a spider. That's a quote. I have no idea where he was going with it, but he is on the spider, and the crowd thought that was epic.
Apparently it's a play on words.
Yeah, it was in Mandarin, and we can't quite decipher the pun.
Unfortunately. But there's a LeBlanc again from Scout. It was good in that last game. An Ashe ban against Uzi as well, so they've definitely changed up their tank ban against Uzi now.
This will probably be Car Sejuani. It doesn't need to be Sejuani actually, again, unless Mouse is going to play the... It might still be Sejuani away from Clearlove. Might actually force him onto the Jarvan, which will be very curious for me to see if that's what they do here, RNG. At the same time, no supports being banned when that was a primary focus, and neither of them have locked it in.
Karma will follow up though, and that is a ban against Ming. And then final ban from RNG. Let's see if it is indeed Sejuani.
Like Rusty's saying, it would then kind of force Clearlove's hand to pick up the Jarvan. It hasn't been a flex pick for EDG in the domestic split, and it hasn't been a flex pick throughout this best of 5 so far.
Shen final ban, actually, towards Mouse. So just trying to take away some of that power.
So they don't know where it's going.
Yeah, against Tristana. All right. Because this would be the perfect time to swap it up, right? It's just like, Jarvan jungle, just kidding, it's top lane.
Well, yeah, this can very easily be a Lulu lock-in again for EDG if they choose, right? They can have a similar composition, so...
And what did we just say? 5 seconds left on this, and he locks it in. Big smile on Clearlove's face.
Yeah, look at his face, and that's what you don't want. We talked about that when Uzi starts smiling, EDG are in trouble. Same thing goes for RNG. Clearlove is looking happy. He's got the momentum behind him. They just won their first game. They're finally on the board, and he takes one of his signature picks in Rek'Sai.
When he first came back into the LPL, when he took his hiatus back in spring, he picked the Rek'Sai, and everyone was like, what? Like, this doesn't exist anymore. And he brought it out, and he still got the wins.
He can make it work. It's just like his Evelyn Pulse. He's got the ability to carry with champions. Most people seem to stop playing because he's so good at those individual champions.
The other thing is it empowers it, or makes it even easier for Mako to take Lulu here, or an Ardent Sensor user, because now you have the Rek'Sai Tremor Sense to compensate for not having an earlier Sightstone. That said, is denied a little bit though.
Yeah, Uzi will go towards his Varus. Played that twice when he was going into WE. And Lulu Playing with the crowd's hearts just a little.
Is he?
I hope he is.
Not? Like
Gianna makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It's another ardent sense he uses. You can see they've still got the heel hovered.
Please.
All right, there we go. There we go. It's going to be the Janna in the end. That rounds out the composition for EDG.
A bit of anti-synergy, though. I mean, naturally, you want to say that Jarvan's going to be used offensively and John is going to be used defensively, but let's hope that we don't run into a situation where Jarvan goes in and everyone else goes out.
We've seen it. Was it like season 3 or 4 where you have Malphite Janna compositions everywhere? Malphite goes to ult, Janna disengages, and he just pounds nothing.
Yep.
Very tragic, but of course, at the highest level of competition, which is what the finals should be, you'd have to hope that they're able to align themselves. I also just personally don't like the Janna here when you look at the engage that they've actually got for EDG. I feel like a Blitzcrank or something a bit more crazy might have even suited them better.
I think it's just nice that they can now create space against the hard engage of Maokai. So Maokai flies in. Janna can either then completely disengage that or reset a situation if she doesn't like it, or let the Maokai fly in and then just create space to allow time to burn him down.
Yeah, that's really the dichotomy of both of these team compositions now, is they want to create space, they want to just scale. They want to get late game Tristana, where you can't actually get to that Tristana. iBoy can go crazy again. RNG, low range AD carries that are being empowered with move speed. They've got Engage that can come out through Maokai with flanks, and Elise to pick someone off. They're about early game. They're about starting off strong and snowballing that to get to the mid game strong. Otherwise, they might get scaled on.
There's a lot of picks and a lot of players we have our eyes on as we get towards game 4. Still match point though, RNG 2-1. But EDG are starting to make the impossible run, the impossible comeback, the reverse sweep.
It sounds like hope's a little bit alive here. Pulse EDG, they were defeated until they got that victory. Now both teams start screaming.
Yep, the fans of both teams behind them.
But it's not just EDG that got their signature picks, it's also RNG feeling a lot of comfort. This is Xiaohu's mid Lucian, this is MLXG's Elise.
This is Clearlove's Rek'Sai.
Yeah, it's absolutely a good place to look at the very beginning, is the battle of the junglers. Yes, they're on signature champions. Maybe not the Elise to the same extent, but Clearlove can absolutely put in work. MLXG can, and it's about how they meet. And is it in the middle, or does someone get the gank off?
Right now, both starting topside, which means that it's a pretty easy road towards the bottom lane. That's what it's been all about. But with Janna, with Lulu, it's so much harder to make a big impact down there with such defensive supports.
You know, one thing we should also point out as well about the ganking and where they might go is that Maokai and Elise are very good at resetting turret aggro, so they can very successfully dive the opponent, and it is a Jarvan. So Jarvan can override a lot of spells and disengage, but he doesn't exactly stand out as the tankiest champion.
He does have really nice kill pressure, though, because of his early damage with passive.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a bit of a change-up. RNG heading into the jungle with a 4-stack.
They're hoping the blue buff's being done. You'd have to
well,
that's unfortunate.
That's a paddling.
That's a paddling. MLXG will turn the corner. He will get this one anyway.
That's just great.
And it slows them down just a bit.
And we'll see how Ming and Uzi walk into this lane. They're actually going all the way around, so they're trying to give a ghost that it was the red buff that was taken, but I believe they were spotted out by a ward, so Clearlove should have information just to walk directly to RNG's
And
blue.
Mako, without hesitation, straight up. He's going to try and place vision, maybe spot out where the Elise is. They're looking at the blue buff. Junglers have been spotted, however, you'd have to imagine.
Oh, that blast cone just...
just spawned. And so did the crab. So,
and Mako didn't actually go to the blue buff. He went straight up the river and placed it deep.
iBoy taking a lot of damage out from Uzi. He has to force the flash out. RNG will be happy with this trade for sure.
So Mako is punished for trying to grab deep vision. They immediately go aggressive on iBoy, but otherwise, it's just been kind of vertical jungling between Clearlove and MLXG. Good reads from both sides.
Yeah, that was a super big punish, however, to get the heal out. Clear looking for a gank in the middle lane.
Pursuit and Scout. He's just playing coy. He knew that Clearlove was coming in, but unfortunately, Xiaohu went towards the bottom side of the lane, seeing the Rek'Sai slowly burrow towards him.
But hold on, Clearlove didn't have time to get the blue buff, so effectively, he could get 3 buff right now, and MLXG has inside track bottom.
And you know what that does realistically mean is that Elise, while she can threaten the dive, there's no heal there for the Tristana. Best case scenario, I would still say, is they just push them off the structure, which is what they're doing. The reason they even stopped that gank in the middle lane was because of Mako's ward. But look at him getting punished for it.
Clearlove comes up, fast knock up, but he's knocked all the way up.
Oh, RNG.
Tower doing a lot. Clearlove under the tower. First blood to Uzi.
Even Xiaohu's here. Mouse, I don't think he should have completed that teleport. RNG between structures.
I mean, Mouse was a bit confident to complete it because he had pressure on the wave, so he's going to be able to freely walk back to lane without missing much, but he's still not leaving.
They go back down there. And yeah, now Mouse will finally recall, but he just lost a lot of time, and Letme's just going to take all of this to the bank. The fact he's a Maokai in a Jarvan matchup, and he gets all this free farm, it's a dream.
This is the best day ever.
And you know, we've had MVPs go to Ming, we've had MVPs go to MLXG, but Uzi really hasn't had his time to shine yet. And if he's going to win his championship, what better way to do it than just start with first blood?
Yeah, absolutely. He's propped on that pedestal as we were totally looking at stuff, but more importantly, we get to watch a dive that happens in the bottom lane. Mako just ticked over to 2, walked in range rather, to get that experience. Thing is, coming this close, Clearlove actually baits his team in, thinks they can kill him. And RNG, the confidence play, to go between the structures and make that work.
Taking Taraka on top of that, still finishes it off with Uzi, then the teleport comes in. He had like a good 3 seconds to decide this probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And they just lost track of the wave, or at least Clearlove did. The fact that Ming and Uzi were able to just walk past the tower because they had a huge wave crashing into it.
Interesting, you mentioned the blue buff. Well, it's still standing there for both of these teams, and the question is, will they take it now? Or is it actually just, you have to give it to your mid laner because it's been there for so long already type of blue buff?
Hope is alive for Clearlove. He can still get it. It's fine, he's Rek'Sai.
Mouse finally returns to the top lane. Let me suspicious. This is down the sap lane just to cover that blue buff as well.
I guess, whilst he's Rek'Sai, he doesn't need to get a blue buff. It was stolen from him, and if Elise gets 2 back-to-back, that is so good for an Elise. Like, being able to use your human form more successfully to clear the jungle and not be worried about running out of mana. Very handy.
And MLXG looks like he will take this. Yes, he will.
Helps him maintain tempo. Experience leads are so massive between junglers.
Hey, Mouse, how you going?
Yeah, good.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging. Yeah, he should return to the top side that the wave is pushing. Back towards this mid lane though. Xiaohu again on this Lucian pick. Scout, same thing for him on the LeBlanc. And pretty much equal farm. Xiaohu this time has gone towards the early Vampiric Scepter instead of rushing the Hexstring, however. Nice dodge!
That was very classy from him. It's a big mind game when a LeBlanc faces off against the Lucian. It's, will I dash, or are they throwing chains, or is it just a Q?
And
played it perfect.
So important that he gets underneath and he's able to reset that wave, get it into the tower, because otherwise Scout's just going to continue to deny him there.
Yeah, amusingly by doing that as well, he's able to keep himself in the CS lead. He's got MLXG nearby as well, so frees him up to actually be a pivot point. Last time we saw him free, it was towards the bottom lane, just there to make sure that his team gets out alive and all right.
And XG constantly being aggressive, constantly trying to track Clearlove, look for these ganks, open up something for his team, as he is warranted to do. Nice damage out there from Xiaohu, followed from the calling as well. Scout doesn't have too much, he has to flash away! Xiaohu asserting dominance in the mid lane.
And he's just so smart about how he's using the creeps, the fact that he relentless pursuits forward to block any sort of chain. And now this pressure that he's created in the mid lane has bled over into the jungle and is now bleeding over into the bot lane.
Yeah, zoning them off their outer turret when there's still 3 of them in a 3v3 is absurd right now. That is how far ahead it feels like RNG are. You can see a CS difference, but it's also the kill and most importantly the experience lead that they've got. Mako's level 3.
He is level 3. That's absurd. He's level 5 as well, so he's only equal with Ming and Uzi.
He can't get anywhere near his stuff.
He's being constantly zoned. That's the fact that they go between the turrets and take him away from it every single time. means that every time the wave crashes, which is when a Janna should be getting the experience when she isn't warding, denied.
And Xiaohu, he's just naturally winning in the mid lane. He's going towards the Blade of Rune King, has the Cutlass. He's ahead and farm on Scout as well. Boy, just takes so much damage from Uzi.
Punish is nasty.
RNG are starting this game off so incredibly strong, not just in terms of kills, but specifically just this lane dominance and pressure.
But they need to be respectful. They should know that Scout's on the bottom side because the blue buff timer has respawned, that he's going to be collecting it. So smartly, they disengage, they back into Fog of War, and waste a lot of Scout's time.
Very good communications. That and MLXG should do his Raptors, immediately go in and place some River Vision once Scout returns, prevent any kind of blue buff rotations with the next wave as he clears it, and then it gives time for Xiaohu to do exactly the same.
Round 3.
How many times has MLXG been bot lane? It feels like 20.
But this is the last time that he needs to do it. They've got the creep wave coming in behind him. They've built it up. They've now pulled the Lucian. The tower is going to fall, and this is so important because it's more control over Infernal.
Yeah, that, and they can choose to do Infernal if they value it very highly, or they can go to top lane if they want. And RNG, the world is their oyster, and they're making the most of it right now.
Yep. Ivory, after getting that MVP performance, is now 30 farm down against Uzi. He's gone for the initial Berserker's Greaves as well, just trying to double down on the damage he's getting out from Mako.
I mean, every solo queue player has felt the pain of having a level 4 Janna against a level 6 Lulu.
My
losing
game
your
is
tower.
not a nice dodge from Xiaohu.
He's just, it doesn't even mean a lot, but he's so good.
Yep.
He still loses the trade, has no matter, but he makes it look so great.
Counterplay on the opposite side. Nature's Grasp comes in. Let me very low on mana. He's stalling out the time right now.
Lemmy has no mana, that's unfortunate.
Put in the cage, chase down, and as you said, Let me out of mana. Gets to use the Bramble Smash one more time, but EDG will get themselves a kill on the top side.
His dying wish was to clear the entire wave, so Let me actually plays that out incredibly well. Doesn't use his Twisted Advance, saves it, doesn't want to live for an extra second, wants to stop them from pushing the structures. That means that RNG, again, they've got the Infernal. They can now recall, go top lane, set themselves up there. This is going so well for them.
I mean, Herald has, as you said, just spawned as well on top of that, so they were pinging on towards that for us.
This is actually a massive tempo advantage. Xiaohu has his ultimate, so he's actually just going to free clear this wave. In fact, he doesn't even have to use it. And now Uzi and Ming are in position to push the top wave, and no one is going to respond from EDG. What should have been a clean tower trade, or at least what EDG suspected would be a clean tower trade, is now in favor of RNG.
Yeah, and that if he has to, he can culling this wave. Maokai's catching mid, has teleport, so there's no real risk of diving this bottom lane either. They are absolutely set up. They are well equipped to prevent EDG from getting that expected.
Yeah, the last piece is actually MLXG on the Elise. If he was there immediately right now, Mouse would not be able to approach this tower. So simply that 10-second window of MLXG just not quite being there might buy EDG enough time, but it doesn't look like it.
It should be enough to perhaps prevent any kind of kills going on to Mouse. Clearlove's nearby, the bottom lane of EDG are there, but the structure at the very least will get low. The question for me is, do EDG make a play now they have numbers, or is it still too dangerous? I'd have to imagine it's too daunting to go forwards.
Yeah, you have to think it's the latter there. RNG. Oh, they know Clearlove's going to go face first into this rush.
Ultimate.
Uzi follows after Chain Corruption lands. Follow up as well, Howling Gale. It's not going to look clear enough. Cannot move. Mid lane though, Let me just dives one-on-one to Scout.
As you do, you just find yourself in the middle lane as a Maokai dead to LeBlanc. So here we are. You'll take the trade. At the end of the day, RNG is still probably going to get themselves a structure.
We get to see
watch this.
how this happened.
That's just...
To be fair,
that was definitely from full.
he
bloody
doesn't
cracker.
lane against LeBlanc often.
No, he doesn't.
So
He's
doesn't
out of his
mid lane
natural
often
habitat.
either.
And he's gone pure armor as well. He's only just picked up the normal magic mantle, so...
I think we're corrupted by watching Xiaohu play around it as Lucian. Suddenly a tank comes in and dies, and you're like, hang on.
I mean, he can't exactly dodge it, can he?
He also
held the flash.
He has full armor as well. There was no way he's surviving Scout, so...
But RNG's patience is going to pay off. The tower will fall again, and EDG only get the pickup of the Maokai in response. So even more control over this Rift Herald, which should be the next objective, so they can look towards mid.
You'll feel good if you Scout, because that's your second kill where you are getting kills. The problem is that macro-wise, EDG aren't getting anything else where RNG are still getting that. There's this mind game from Clearlove.
Still waiting. Once there's kill onto Xiaohu. Flash, knock-up, Scout with the damage. They finally get this kill. The patient, the hunter, will just pay off.
He juked. Xiao, who unfortunately juked towards the chain, wasn't able to dodge it, did not use his flash and should have probably respected they had kill threat. But when the chains are on, you are dead. And so that immediate blue buff that was taken by him is gone to waste.
And what that means is that Uzi and Ming had to make a right turn towards the mid lane. They're now heading back up towards the top, but it allows just a little bit of chip damage. So while it doesn't immediately translate into mid tower into top tower, it's at least something for EDG.
I personally do not believe those chains connected when I watched him juke, but at the same time, he juked both directions, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Xiao, like, if he was just blast cones down and gone around to the lane,
this is twice now that the blast cone has
screwed him over. Oh, either way, I mean, that's just a drop in the ocean because 2 Blade of Ruin Kings have been completed by RNG. That being said, though, that was the 3rd kill to Scout. He owns all of the kills for EDG.
2 Blade of the Ruin Kings and an Ardent Sensor for the Lulu. Compare that to what Mako has, and they are very far ahead through the bottom lane 2v2. That is a dangerous game that EDG have to play against.
Yeah, my eyes are on Scout, though, because he'll be getting towards that Gunblade very, very shortly. We'll be able to keep on assassinating these members.
I mean, the big problem is that while Janna has finally completed her Ardent Sensor, while she's so much closer to level 9 than she has been, the map is dark. Again, you don't have that sight stone, it's delayed, and it's an Elise that's running around in this jungle.
Xiao encroaching on Scout, however, lockdown from the chains. It is still fun after.
Okay. Yeah, he had MLXG nearby, so he was just playing aggressively, seeing what he could get. And the thing is, whilst that's a good trade, I like to bring to attention Scout as well at that moment and say that Ardent Sensor's there, bottom lane strong, RNG in a position of power, but we've just watched Scout kill Let Me before. He is a Fed member on the team against an armor stacking Maokai. I have a feeling that EDG's strategy is 1-3-1 or 2-3 involving killing Let Me every time. Again.
I mean,
finally, the Herald dies.
They're free to do that. They have the safety of keeping Iboy not only with his rocket jump, but also next to the Janna. Clearlove theoretically shouldn't get caught anymore because he has Tremor Sense. So as long as the 3 units of EDG can hang tight, yeah, LeBlanc's going to naturally win that side lane for them.
Interesting that Ming actually picked up the Rift Herald in this one, so it does leave MLXG open to use his trinket.
RNG are actually the team that most commonly give over Void Rift, or the Void buff to Ming, and it's to allow him multiple backs, you know, using that empowered back timer. And again, RNG are a very clever vision team, one of the better ones in the LPL, so keep our eyes on how Ming uses those back timers and where he's moving his vision around.
And I'm glad you mentioned clever vision, because one of the biggest reasons why most people will give over Herald to their support is if they're the one using the sweeper and placing the vision for the Herald, where the jungler may still want to use that afterwards to set up for something else. The support doesn't need that trinket slot anymore.
Yep.
But that means they have to be confident the support will be where the play is made.
Which he has just done. Uzi instantly flashing away because Scout has his number. The connects change anyway. Ming with the ultimate at the right time. MLXG has as well. The repel. In comes Let Me. Pulling used, but it's just slightly out of range.
And unfortunately for the Maokai,
Scout, he's following after, jumps back with the distortion.
I was going to say, Maokai just can't quite get into the fight. He was so close, but the damage has been done. They chip a lot of health, and now they're doubling down on this mid tower.
This is really dangerous from RNG, doubling down with all the health bars missing. Uzi not having anything up. I feel like that was a wasted Herald ultimately, because EDG, you're going to stand and kill it.
I mean, they did have Let Me's ultimate. Maybe you threaten the fact that you can dive, throw the ultimate, maybe buy some few cheap shots on the structure.
And we just played an Aram game right there, and yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense just to chuck the Herald down mid. Maybe felt more confident that they could make a play. They had that initial Infernal Dragon. Maybe we can force a fight, but not what happens in the end. And also, Scout still wants to be seriously feared right now. He has got that power spike though. Mouse coming in as well. Teleport top of the standard. Nature's Grasp comes in and instantly locks down the Blanc
so
at the
nice.
right time. Let Me looking for the turnaround. The Cocoon's good. The auto attack.
And it's
Scout falls.
There, right there. That's what we're talking about when we say Scout is a double-edged sword. He will either win you a game or he will lose you a game. He doesn't change his playstyle. He's always going to go for the throat.
And that was no hesitation from Scout on the teleport to the flag of Jarvan. It's a cute combo. It looked fantastic. But the way Let Me played that, the timing on his ultimate as well, the fact that RNG were there and Scout didn't know.
And we cannot compliment the timing on Let Me's ultimate enough, because Nature Scraps is not an easy one to time. Moves so damn slow.
It was sick. Like, the timing on this is great. Auto attack, flash away. Mouse probably had an opportunity to ult there, but that was really nice. And then overextend. Scout, I mean, he had no vision. He's played for the full.
Yeah.
At least gets the cocoon.
And ultimately, what's he going to do anyway? Because he's burning the Mimic Distortion on that play anyway, so he's going to follow after Sidua maybe, and then jump back. But that bit of chip damage just wasn't necessary. Dies for it, and RNG pull back.
It was shutdown bonus, however, into Uzi's pocket, so helps slingshot some more of those builds.
Yep, Runan's Hurricane on top of the Blade of Ring King for Uzi.
Of course he got it.
Yep.
He wasn't even there.
Thank you, LeBlanc.
And Scout, Mouse, not dissuaded. They're still waiting for a trap.
We've got 5 threats right now on the side of RNG. You wouldn't constitute Let Me as a threat, of course, but this early in the game, Maokai's always going to be a big deal. But AP for MLXG on his Elise is going to be doing a lot.
I keep seeing Lucian, and I just automatically go Uzi.
That's fair.
Yeah, you do pair them up, honestly.
They go hand in hand. This is just ganks everywhere.
Okay, well, it's on the opposite side. The iBoy being chased down Salhu. So much damage in the bottom lane, though. Let Me is just playing to try and survive as long as possible. And Sap Magicka's doing a good job at that, honestly, as Clearlove will borrow away, though the rest of the team, RNG, are shoving it down mid.
Yeah, 100% worth for RNG. Why the fact would they trade the Maokai? They're getting objective after objective, and they're not stopping here.
And Maokai cleared the wave. Once again, you kill him, he's already done his job. RNG's job was just to get a pick, and they didn't even get the pick, but they forced them back to base. 2 structures for 1 kill.
24 seconds, Baron is spawning, and it just gets that much easier to set that objective up.
And again, all of these kills keep going over to Scout. So, yes, it was obviously a bad trade, but RNG at the end of the day, this Chains of Corruption does miss. Scout, it goes down to him to make these plays for us.
Yeah, and ultimately, if Scout isn't in these fights, then EDG don't have any of their gold value really behind them. So while it is working out in these side lanes, they can't leave the rest of their map exposed.
If I was RNG at this stage of the game as well, whilst Baron is up and available, I'd be looking towards the Mountain Drake as the higher priority. Firstly, because you've got 2 Blade of the Ruin King users and a Leandri's Torment with an Ardent Sensor to empower all of you. You will do the Baron already in 10 seconds, but with a Mountain Drake on top of that, it's not just the Baron you can take more successfully, but the structures. That 10% extra helps so much when you have a Blade of the Ruin King, which is not high base AD, to actually take down those structures.
He's back to his natural habitat. He's back in bot lane. He's just waiting for another 3-man gank to come towards him, so RNG can this time take the Baron.
I mean, he's doing his job. It's been easy. Pretty much die, get ganked by 3 people.
Win the game.
Clear some creeps.
Become an LPL champion by dying 3 times.
Literally
it's a classic moment.
EDG just kind of consolidate resources right now.
They need to start spreading their gold around, particularly on this Tristana. Now, it does help that Janna is finally level 9, has 5 points in her shield, so we'll be able to supplement a little bit of that base AD, especially because poor little iBoy, he's got a crit cloak, he's got a pickaxe.
Yeah, and a Runans.
He's pretty far away from his Infinity Edge. He's not having a good experience. And the fact that he's gone for the Runans with the pickaxe and then the crit cloak, like his AD from the Runans isn't even that high. He's definitely struggling.
He is a pauper.
That is a Jesus take the wheel type of build.
He's solid 1750 away from being relevant, unfortunately. Yeah. And Mako, as a result of that, then becomes even less relevant as the Janna, who's meant to be empowering that AD carry. Very polarizing performances from iBoy and Mako between games 3 and 4 so far.
On the opposite side, you've got Xiaohu and Uzi, who are both on fire at this point in time. Massively ahead in the bottom lane. And Uzi, he's starting to put that curse to sleep. That's what he's trying to do right here in this game.
There's Mountain Dragon, and once this falls, all eyes will turn towards this Baron. So EDG again running out of time to control this map.
Scouts are doing an abundance of work. However, he was the person who got the bottom lane out of.
Chain of Corruption does connect, but gets the jump off right in time. Jahu still putting down the damage. Piercing Arrow connects.
Never seen a Lucian move like that.
That was some pretty good disengaged on the left from EDG whilst he was ice skating everywhere. The only person I've seen do that is Uzi. But no, they don't get the pick. So EDG, a composition that we said excels at being able to disengage, does exactly that through their bottom lane duo. RNG, the low range composition, still snowballing, still moving forwards.
Yep.
But here comes the backs, and there goes the control ward. So Ming starting to stack up, all of RNG starting to file into the vision, and the denial game is about to happen.
iBoy rejoicing though because he's finally hit 2 items. We're 2-item Tristana. So he can actually deal some damage now. Next dragon's also going to be a mountain on top of that. We've got 1 apiece, plus an Infernal to RNG.
And if you're EDG right now, you're thanking Scout for being 4-1 because he's gotten the outer turrets. All of the outers that have fallen have been by the hand of this LeBlanc. He's given the necessary gold to iBoy to be able to get that Infinity Edge in the first place. And with what Scout has been able to set up, yes, he dies one time and it all crumbles just that little bit more. We're at a point in the game where he's hoping to reap what he sows and actually have the rest of his team come back in behind him and support him as he's helped them grow.
And this just means that RNG need to be decisive. You know, while Scout is creating a massive pressure point in one of these side lanes or threatening, looking for a pick.
As Chains actually connects on this one, it's a lot of damage. Second chain follow-up. Scout very close to it. Bracing comes in. And Scout will get the kill. Looking towards MLXG. Connects another chain. He's on fire right now. Into the Zonians. Flash, knock up. In come the cavalry. EDG running down RNG right now. Looking for another kill. Cataclysm seals in the spider. Repel comes up, but what goes up must come down. Uzi also falls. Where did that damage come from? iBoy, he's into the base. Buster shot. 4 kills.
And that's Baron. The jungler is dead, and they are immediately rushing back. Scout has teleport, so he can reset, grab his health, and teleport back into tank.
And EDG, from a moment they should not have had tempo, find a pick, and that was a 1v1 between Scout and Xiaohu. Does not fall on his own sword. Beat Xiaohu to the punch.
Baron's down. EDG claim it, and the crowd goes wild. EDG retake the gold lead.
And here's where the 2 MVPs clash, and the fact that these chains connect, and Scout doesn't even bother to go over the wall.
Doesn't need to. Clearlove would have had him if it came to it. He was yelling angrily as she dashed over, and then goes forwards. Lazonia's usage, dodging Uzi's ultimate. All of these things that Scout has just done. Impeccable work from the mid laner of EDG.
And it's not over just yet. Mouse comes into the back line. This is the big one, securing the kill onto the jungler, knowing that there's no smite contest. And then what Scout starts, iBoy finishes.
Yeah, gets the resets, jumps in again, knows how much damage his ult does. Thank you, crit gods, for setting me up on this day.
RNG in their favor this time round. EDG 4 kills, a Baron. And they have the setup now to take some of these outer structures. There's actually a lot of standing gold for them actually here.
We talked about that momentum, that temperament shift. EDG to find a play like that are now possibly looking at a game 5. And if you're Uzi, you're starting to shake, you're sweating.
Not again.
You're looking at this next team fight if you're Uzi and you're saying this is the one. I need my item spikes, Infinity Edge necessary. Even though they have a Baron, they're still a strong side here. RNG, they can still team fight. They just need to execute properly, not get caught out whilst placing vision down.
EDG stepping up to the tower. They have the Tristana, again, fantastic at taking down these structures and doing a lot of AoE damage on top of that.
And she's really untouchable at this point.
Scout gets caught down, goes into the Zonia, it's the lockdown. Need more from RNG.
RNG are committing.
Jumps away. Brahma Smash is good. Again, little jump back from Scout. First kill goes down. Xiaohu leading the charge. Let me. Great buster shot from iBoy. Ming, again, following after, but it is just the 1 kill onto Clearlove.
I was saying that Tristana is untouchable, but it's Scout that ends up getting caught, getting a little bit too over-aggressive, trying to peek in, trying to get that poke damage underneath the tower.
Yeah, he's a hero and a villain, all the same, Scout, as if he's not going to get caught after making the big plays. But iBoy's got the gold already, so he's setting himself up. At the same time, Xiaohu was the one going forwards. Clever exhaust on the iBoy as he looks too aggressive. But now this game has just gone so back and forth.
Oh, great read from MLXG there on Scout. Forces out the early Zonias. Unfortunately, then he distortions right into the Maokai ultimate. And since Scout has lost all of his health and he's majority of their gold, they can't turn and fight. And now it's about using all of their resources to turn tail.
Unfortunately for RNG, they can't chase quite as well as Tristana can when she gets those resets. We find ourselves, I'm not going to say in a stalemate, absolutely not in a stalemate, but in a standoff.
It's definitely a standoff. That's a great word for it.
The dream is alive for Uzi. It didn't die there. That's what's important.
I mean, even heading into Game 5, it would still be alive, but it will be smoldering, you know?
But it mostly denied the Baron as well. 1200 is all they got from it. It's only got 10 seconds left. It means that another mountain can be looked at. We already spoke to the value of how important these are for both of these teams, but for RNG as well. Not out of it yet.
All of our key ultimates are back up. Should be noted, though, that iBoy nor Mako have their flash.
Dragon has been started off, but
EDG in the better position, however, because they have mid lane.
Has been reset.
They also have top lane.
A solid Baron power play there from EDG. Obviously would have liked more, but they were stymied by RNG. Let me. It's going to be checking this Bush Scout. Playing Vanguard. Xiaohu stepping forward, but the Dragon's already down. EDG have claimed it.
Just took RNG a little bit too long to get around, to get all of their resources on the same side of the pit and look for an engagement there. But you can still see how hungry and how confident they are to look for these fights.
Yeah, really good decision making from EDG, seeing them go the long way, having the vision and acknowledging that we're going to try and burst it before they can get here. And then they disengage successfully, as their composition is wont to do.
And we're back to another standoff, this time around Baron.
I mean, both teams are frankly okay to do this. They probably feel fine in their scaling potential. Yes, we weight it towards EDG because of their composition, because of the Tristana, but we've seen miracles pulled out from late-game Lucians as well as Uzi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Not again.
and you see miracles from Scout as he will drop MLXG.
How many times is this going to happen? And it's just Scout by himself. Every single time they've generated that pick, that game-changing moment has been a LeBlanc with the chains.
I mean, you just have to pretend like LeBlanc is in every damn bush on Summoner's Rift.
And there's just no reason for MLXG really to be here. He's got 2 members on his team backing. There's no reason to contest anything up into that river. Just wait, collect yourself as a unit.
I mean, RNG counting their blessings since there was no major objective up. Baron is spawning in 90 seconds, though it does completely concede vision around the area and allow EDD to start sieging the top side.
Yeah, that control is super handy, but I feel like RNG still have enough time to be able to push out at least some of it, pick an area and be able to walk through there.
It's effectively not the nail in the coffin for the series, but it will start to rattle confidence.
That's the RNG fans.
Yep, giving some motivation. Crowd is always here. Very much a split crowd, honestly.
I mean, these are the 2 biggest organizations in China. They've been in the most finals collectively.
Yep. Amusingly, they've both been separated on other sides of the stadium right now. RNG start yelling, and you immediately just hear the EDG fans like, how dare you?
Yep,
like
4th consecutive
cry.
final from RNG.
I just wish they would set aside their differences and start a wave.
That's not going to happen.
No, it'll
It's
go
just
through
not
one side and
gonna
then stop. As soon as he gets to EDG or RNG.
Depends who's winning. It'll be a great one-sided wave.
Right now it's at the point where it could go either way. RNG are setting up their own death brushes now as well. They've seen the game from Scout, they're going to raise him one.
I mean, we say it could go both ways, and it could, but probability would say that it's still with EDG unless RNG makes something crazy happen.
Wouldn't you want this minion wave perhaps? Though EDG have seen this one. They're corralling all of them away. Xiaohu's not on the team. It's a 4 versus 5. Knockup comes in, but clear up! Sticking so much damage. There's a lot of healing coming in from Mako though. Let me, they've already used the wild group on him. Kinetic Corruption was the disengage they needed.
That's inside track for RNG though. Clearlove is low, he's not going to be there in time. Do they trust to start the Baron? I mean, Scout's still around.
It's a possibility. They have to clear all the vision first, and there is a lot of vision there.
That is so much respect given to the LeBlanc.
Certainly is. Of course, very clever from the LeBlanc to put the clone in the bush, knowing exactly where they were going to be. That's his trick. You can't use it against him.
We're seeing the adaptation, Rusty.
Yeah.
They are learning their lesson.
It was actually great to see it though from RNG, showing a bit of innovation, some creativity. try and find themselves a pick into a Baron here.
But it still feels like a very different RNG than the front half of the series. If that was game 1 or game 2, RNG were immediately on the Baron. They were immediately pulling the trigger. But now it's, okay, we need to give more respect. Scout's really massive right now. No, he has to die. We need to set this up just right. No mistakes.
I mean, EDG have woken up and RNG recognize that, so they have to play differently. They can't just play with complete disrespect and just keep going forwards. They need to make sure that they respect Scout, they respect the pick potential, and now the fact that iBoy is starting to accumulate kills, he's a major threat on the team as well.
This has been a nuts game for the Drake spawns also. 2 Mountains for EDG, a Mountain and an Infernal for RNG, and you would not believe what the next one's going to be either. The objectives, the team fighting, everything that the LPL wants, these are their Drakes, they've got them.
It's almost like the game knows.
And now it's just this tug of war over control in these lanes. Both teams want to get them pushed forward so they can safely move into the river, so we can safely set more traps. And it's who's going to get caught.
So far, it's been RNG, but now they're looking.
Chain of Corruption.
Oh!
Good burrow.
That took a little off the top.
Yeah. Well, the horns are now missing from Rek'Sai. The Scout's actually looking for the split push on bottom side. Just had that teleport, but RNG have started.
They have straight away started.
Clear Love. It might actually be down to
pretty much just dead.
So quickly. Clear Love over the wall.
No!
It's confirmed by Uzi. What is it with AD carrying Sakura Baron? And that will be the kill. Onto MLXG from Scout. EDG are chasing them down. He's
iBoy's going.
iBoy gets the first. Reset follows. And that is not the place that Ming wants to be. Off with a distance. iBoy gets another. Uzi gets out just at the last moment and keeps the Baron alive.
But that might actually just be the whole game if they're able to push in time and stop Uzi from clearing out these waves.
Oh, Uzi, iBoy, he's jumped into the base. Tick, tick, he's still alive. Oh no! He didn't stop, drop and roll, and he'll die. iBoy may have just hammered the last nail in the coffin.
That's it. Look at the massive creep wave, not just in mid, but also in top. EDG, they're going to end it.
This is unbelievable. EDG move on to the Nexus turrets, and they're going to take us to a game 5.
After they kill MLXG one more time, Pulse.
We found the momentum. We've gotten the reverse sweep. It is now game 5, EDG versus Star Horn Royal Club.
Wipes the sweat off his brow. Scout with a star performance as well. Maybe he gets caught once, but he made up for it 100 times over with the rest of that. Yet he still looks like he's stressed, he's nervous. Maybe it's a bit disheveled after that one.
I mean, that was a Hercules effort by Scout, but it was also laid down by iBoy in those last moments, making the crucial tower dives, especially on Uzi. I can't think of a better snapshot of this series right now than iBoy tower diving Uzi 1 game away from his title to end it.
I mean, Scout knows that that game was going to live and die by him. And it was just so important that he made that work.
Safe to say he gave it life. He gave it a lot of life. RNG was snowballing. The bottom lane, iBoy and Mako, they were so far behind. They were struggling. Uzi was feeling it. And he was going forwards. All it took was that one moment to tip the balance, tip the momentum.
And they've done it. Something clicked in game 3. We all saw it with our own 2 eyes. And that momentum carried forwards, and it came down. Yes, it came down to Scout and iBoy turning up, but they did when it counted. And EDG will take us to a game 5. And RNG, maybe the curse of Uzi is a little bit too strong. Maybe that is pushing them back.
Maybe, of course. Game 5 will be the decider as if the Uzi curse is still going to be the case. But when we look at game number 4, you can see the goal difference as the game progressed. Got to 24 odd minutes, RNG still had the lead. And then it all came crashing down.
And that simple swing was just off the pick of Scout. You know, the fact that Xiaohu walks blind into the brush, Scout finds a massive pick, it turns into a huge team fight, and suddenly Tempo is on the other foot.
Yeah, and you can see that in the goal graph as well, that big ramp from EDG at the end, getting those picks, and it really was down to those picks. Scout sitting in brushes, random people from RNG just walking into them, and then Scout getting the assassinate. And that turns into an objective, that turns into a fight.
And look at the damage done by him as well. That is incredible from a LeBlanc to be able to output that much damage. She's meant to be an assassin.
but she assassinated the whole team. So that's what you get.
And it's not just the picks. I mean, it's really easy to read an assassin pick like that. Oh, you know, people walked into bushes, he made a pick, it was a 4v5, they turned into an objectives. But it's also everything else that Scout was doing. The fact that he was running around the map, that he was using double teleport, that he was playing those side lanes, again, reversing the tempo that RNG have created in setting up these objectives.
Yeah. I just can't believe it. We're going to a game 5 and it looked like a clean sweep. It looked like Uzi and Xiaohu, they were just hammering it home, and it was just like, man, this is just going to be a short final. This is going to be a repeat of Spring right here, but RNG are going to be on the opposite side, and EDG are possibly going to get the reverse sweep.
Yeah, but we're knocking on the door of a 3-0. It was very clean at that, and suddenly EDG gets some momentum, and it's not just one game. They come back in the game number 4 without the momentum, losing the game, and suddenly turn it back on themselves again. If that isn't momentum, I don't know what is coming into the 5th game, because that's going to play negatively towards RNG for sure.
And the terrifying thing is it still feels like there's something left in the tank for EDG. You know, coming into this this best of 5, EDG said it themselves. They felt like for the first time that they were the underdogs. You look at RNG, every single one of those players is playing in top form. Xiaohu is having an incredible season. Uzi is looking amazing. Ming has stepped up to fill the shoes of Mata. And you look across at EDG, and Clearlove's off, and Mako's not really performing, and Scout, he's very hit and miss. Even in that game when he digs deep, he does find it, but they're still occasionally stepping out. And so the fact that EDG still have a ceiling beyond this is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, like, they got dismantled, honestly, in Game 1 and Game 2, completely taken apart. And it's just amazing stuff. The fact that EDG have managed to come back in this one and actually secure it and get to this Game 5. Like, as you said, more in the tank, and that was very obvious into this one. As we take a look at the MVP, I mean, how could it be anyone else other than Scout, the man who literally won the game for them?
2 heroic performances. iBoy doing 52% of his team's damage, 53%. Scout comes in and does 48 himself as LeBlanc. They have got 1 carry in each game that they have played that has just gone above and beyond and has been able to put in extra.
Yep, someone's going to turn up, and I wonder who it will be next time from EDG, because if they get one more person, then they take the series.
I don't believe there is anyone else, Pulse. That's the question. Is there someone else that can go to that level of carry for the team? Scout was incredible. iBoy as well, being able to pick up his slack towards the end of the game. Legitimately 1v1ing Uzi under his turret to win them the entire thing. That's pretty crazy if you're iBoy.
I mean, the only person that comes to mind is Clearlove. We talk about how emotional both these teams are. EDG, if the momentum, if the hype is behind Clearlove, he can play up. So if there is a game to pull out the Kha'Zix or one of those weird signature picks, he's certainly going to have the confidence now.
Yeah, and I will say that history was changed today, because we saw the exact same picks and bans in the WE series. You leave the Elise open, then he picks it the next game, and that's the game that MLXG won for his team. And that didn't happen this time. We saw some mistakes. We saw priority on the Elise and him go around the map and set up the bottom lane. The fact that Uzi was so incredibly far ahead was sentiment towards that Elise pick, but it didn't do anything more after that. You know, he then got caught by Scout, who made those outplays.
Yeah, and it is easy to kind of target in on MLXG because he holds so much responsibility as that jungler, but it did start with Xiaohu. You know, it was Xiaohu the first one that face checked into the brush, that was caught off guard. So individually, each member of RNG did, you know, break down this series.
Yeah, and there's a world where you look at it and say maybe the Lucian is something at fault here. He individually was playing incredibly well, still being able to dodge out the chains, played it well around Scout, but the Lucian, they're picking it blind, they're picking it third, they're giving the LeBlanc into the matchup twice, and the biggest thing, the biggest problem that they're starting to experience is that the double teleport composition out of EDG is proving to be too much for them. So honestly, if you're RNG coming to the next game, pick up maybe the Corki, go for the teleport on the Corki if you want, match it, try and make EDG change, and then best them. I
mean, that's what we expected, honestly, heading into the series. We expected to see the Corki, maybe even a Talia thrown out by Scout, but he didn't go for either of those champions. He actually went for the LeBlanc in the last 2, in which they won. So that actually could be a ban coming into this 5th game, is that RNG identify the fact that, you know, Scout was a problem. And at the same time, iBoy also gets the Tristana. So it did seem to come down to, you know, some of this drafting issues and problems that they had that you were talking about earlier for us.
It's the fact that they gave responsibility to MLXG, that was the big adjustment. They say, okay, we're going to give you and prioritize your champion. You're going to snowball with Xiaohu and then move that pressure around.
Yeah, we'll pick up on that conversation as we do take a quick break, and we will be setting up for this Game 5 between EDG and RNG.